Iranian authorities have arrested 4 people over allegations that they tried to disrupt the country's political and social order. Only 3 have been publicly identified so far. They include the Secretary General of a reformist party, an ex-diplomat and a former MP. A message on the Iran Judiciary's website says they, quote, work to undermine national cohesion. Al Jazeera's Toed Hassadi joins us live from Tehran. Good to see you, Toed. So talk us through these arrests and the explanation given.
Well, actually, a few hours ago, we've got the official news agency of the Iran's judiciary, Mizan news agency, to actually reveal the news about 4 people affiliated with, as they called, a particular party to be arrested. With further details on that, the report says that these individuals were involved in activities actually disrupting, according to the report, social and political order of the country while it was under threats by the Israelis and Americans. Also, the report continues to say that these elements were actively operating in support of the interest of the United States and Israel. These are serious allegations directed towards these 4 people. The name of a 4th person remains to be seen. Still, we know that several other actually people affiliated with the reformist party of the country have been summoned to the office of the general prosecutor. We know that Azar Mansouri, who is the head of Iran's reformist front, was said to be arrested. It was confirmed by her lawyer as well. Also, we've got Mohsen Aminzadeh. He is a former deputy foreign minister of the country, as well as a former deputy for the Ministry of Culture and Islamic Guidance. And of course, we've got Ebhrahim Asgharzadeh, a former member of the parliament and a former member of the Tehran City Council. And he was, interestingly, one of the leaders involved in the U.S. Embassy takeover back in 1979. And of course, we don't know much about the precise allegations and whether it has been officially communicated to them or not. But still, this is the report that we have from the Mizan news agency affiliated with the Iran's judiciary.
And Toed, help us understand who has actually carried out these arrests.
Well, we have to keep in mind the context, and Iran's head of judiciary just a couple of hours before the announcement of the news about these arrests came out to say that, quote unquote, I'm citing him, that those who issue statements against the Islamic Republic from inside the country are echoing the voices of Israel and the United States. With that said, we can say that, at least to a certain extent of certainty, we can say that the Iran's judiciary is actually conducting these investigations, as we saw also in the Mizan's report in that regard. Meanwhile, we've got other reports saying that actually the law enforcement officers belonging to the intelligence part of IRGC, as well as the intelligence ministry, were conducting the process of arresting those 4 political, actually reformist individuals. And that is, of course, a statement, all in all, if I want to give you a gist of the matter, that we hear from Iranian state and Iranian security apparatus that any sort of activity to destabilize domestically the situation in the country, specifically with respect of the external threats that Iran has been facing, particularly following the major military buildup over the past few weeks, is not going to be tolerated. This is the same message that we have been hearing from different Iranian officials while they're trying to say about the protests that we witnessed starting from late December. They are trying to say that we are trying to draw a line between who are trying to actually make a riot and destabilize the country and those who are involved in a peaceful protest. This is the line that the Iranian actually political official rhetoric is trying to actually give out when it comes to their official statements. But it's still, the charges that we are talking about are serious charges. Specifically, there is this concept of muharaba, which means the act of being at war with the Islamic establishment, which runs the risk of serious penalties such as death penalty in case there is a ruling by the court in that regard.
Tawhid, many thanks for that. Tawhid Asadi in Tehran. Sina Azodi is Director of the Middle East Studies Programme at George Washington University. He joins us from Washington, D.C. A very warm welcome to the programme. So we understand 4 arrests have been made by our IRGC intelligence. They include a reformist politician, a diplomat, a city councillor / local MP. The authorities say these individuals tried to justify terrorist activity. How do you read these accusations?
Well, I think this is a typical branding of what the Iranian intelligence does to political opponents of the Islamic Republic, especially those who favor more opening and more liberalization of the Iranian political system. So I'm not surprised. We have to keep in mind that in the past year, since the end of June 2025, the Iranian political system is becoming more close. It was never an open political system, but it's becoming more repressive against the backdrop of the June war, and especially now with the crackdown, the massive crackdown that we had in the protests. I think the Iranian political system is becoming even more repressive.
Repressive or desperate as well? Because the IRGC's own intelligence organisation issued a rare public warning in January against what they described as insubordination and desertion. I mean, does an official admission of that kind of internal friction perhaps suggest that the command and control structure is actually weakening, possibly even fracturing?
Well, the system has been fractured for decades, I would say. But the people who have been arrested are mostly reformist politicians. One of them, Narges Mohammadi, is a famous political activist who's been jailed many times. And these are the people who have been calling for more political liberalization. Some of them have called for the end of the Islamic Republic. Which tells me that the Islamic Republic has decided to close any avenues for political dissent, and rather to rule with the iron fist through arrests, crackdown, and more fear-mongering among any political dissidents.
You mentioned Nobel Prize winner Narges Mohammadi there. She, along with doctors and lawyers, have also been detained as well, to name a few. I mean, what is going on here? Because it strikes me that those are precisely the kind of people who could feature very highly indeed in any kind of post-regime transition. These are people who represent civil society.
Oh, absolutely. Not just them, people like Tajzadeh, who are in jail, and at one point they were part of the system. They've practically defected. They have openly called for the end of rule of Ayatollah Khamenei, the end of the Islamic Republic. But like any authoritarian regime which faces a dilemma of opening up and giving concessions to the population and cracking down the Islamic Republic, I think it faces the same predicament. And again, it has decided to remove any political dissident, to perhaps extend its iron fist rule. But I think at the end of the day, the Islamic Republic or any other political regime, especially in the authoritarian governments, they cannot rule forever by eliminating political dissidents.
Talking about ruling forever, I wonder if there are quite severe economic considerations that might contribute to that, because the Iranian rial has collapsed another 30% since the start of the year, and it's been suggested that the regime's bandwidth for any kind of long-term crackdown is thinning. I mean, could the security powers simply run out of steam, and what might happen if they do?
Well, in the cases that we have seen, this is not the first time that they're being arrested. They have been arrested many times. They've served their prison sentences. They've been released. They've been sent back to prison, and they've been released again. This is why, and this is why I'm saying it has nothing to do with really the current economic situation, because these individuals, they have a long history of being imprisoned by the Islamic Republic, mostly because of their political activism and calling for liberalization in the in Islamic Republic, more women's rights, more political freedoms. So as I pointed out, this is not their first time, and this is why I think it has to do more with a political situation rather than just the economic situation in the country.
Mohsen Aminzadeh, Director of the Middle East Studies Programme at George Washington University. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news, expert insight. Like, share, stay ahead.